Hi, welcome back to day 43 of online learning. Today we're going over Unit 8, Lesson 1.5, and we're going to be continuing our work with division problems. So I'm going to pull up our lesson goals and objectives now for what we're trying to achieve by watching this video. So your lesson goals and objectives for this video is that I will be able to make sense of remainders and division problems. And remember that remainders are parts that are left over. I will be able to solve multiplication and division problems, and I will continue to practice my division facts to work on developing fluency. What I want us to do is we're going to work on problem 1 from your have-to from yesterday, so on page 475. And we're going to dive in and think about what does this mean? What does it mean when things are left over or remainders? So the problem was there are 32 students going on a field trip. Each car holds 5 students. How many cars will they need? Pause me and think about what division problem were you being asked to solve for this problem? The way that I would take notes for this problem is that I would figure out the number of groups, the number in each group, and the total number in this problem. So it says there are 32 students going on a field trip. And where would I put 32 students in my note-taking strategy? I would put that under my total number. There's 32 students total. I'm not getting any more students, but I'm breaking down 32 students into groups. So it says each car holds 5 students. How many cars will they need? So I know that each car holds 5 students, so each group or each car will have 5 students in each. So number in each group is 5 students. And my number of groups is what I'm trying to figure out. How many cars will they need is how many groups I will have. So the equation that I have to solve here is I'm breaking down 32 into groups of 5, and I need to figure out how many groups there are total. So pause me and think about how did you solve this equation? 32 divided by 5. So I know there's not 5 groups, but what I can figure out is how many groups of 5 can I make. So if I was to make one group of 5, I'd do 5, then 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and then if I did another group of 5, that would be 35. So I have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So far I used 30 students are equally put into cars, and then I have 2 students left over. Pause me and think about what does this representation show? What am I showing in this picture? What I'm doing is I'm showing that these are each cars. Every circle is a group or a car. And I'm dealing out 32 equally in these groups. And what I tried to figure out is I knew that there was going to be 5 in each. So I'm going to figure out how many groups of 5 can I make until I get to 32. What do these 2 represent? These 2 people that are left over are 2 people that weren't able to fit in the car. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal groups. With 2 left over. Pause me and think about what does that mean? How many groups or how many cars am I going to need in order to make sure all 32 students are able to go on this field trip? So I see that there's 6 cars that are filled, but I can't just leave these 2 people out. So if I have 6 cars, but with 2 people that still want to go on the field trip, I'm going to make another car, but it's just going another car or another group, but it just won't be a filled car. So how many cars do I need in order to make sure everybody's able to go on the field trip? I would need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars. Why do you think that I just can't say as an answer 6 equal groups with 2 left over for this problem, but I could say that yesterday for the cookie problem? Yesterday for the cookie problem, I was able to say 3 cookies with 2 left over, or 3.5 cookies if I wanted to make sure everyone got them equally. Here I need to say 7 cars. When I was doing the problem with the balloons, I wasn't able to split them in half. Why do I have to say 7 cars instead of 6 equal groups with 2 left over? This problem is different than the 2 cars we did yesterday because we weren't able, this problem you can't split cars up and you can't split people up. With cookies, we were able to split them in half, and it also said if I was breaking up cookies equally between these groups. But I'm not able to do this problem in equal groups. Not everybody's gonna get the same amount in each car. Yesterday was a different problem because I was able to split up the cookies equally, but I can't split up people. Or I also couldn't split up balloons. That's why I was going to have some left over. This one isn't asking equally because that's impossible. You can't have 32 students equally go in groups of 5. What I'm noticing here, it's really important to not just think about what the question is asking you, but to think about what is the context of this story? What is going on in my story problem? If it was asking me to split up equal cookies, if it was asking me to split up cookies equally, then I need to make sure that I'm splitting up equally, and that's how I'm getting a fraction of a half. But I'm not able to do the same thing here, and I want to make sure all of my students are going on this trip. Therefore, I need to make sure I'm paying attention to what the question is asking me and what I'm able to do in this problem. So it's not just about solving the division problem correctly, it's making sure that once you have the answer to the division problem, you make sense of what the story is asking. It's asking us how many cars are they going to need to make sure all 32 students are able to go on this trip. Now let's take a look at number 4 for yesterday's have to. This problem says there are 60 students going to see a movie. Each row holds 9 people. How many rows can they completely fill up? Pause me and take notes of this problem using the same note-taking format that I have here of numbers of groups, number in each group, and the total number. So it says there are 60 students going to see a movie. So I know my total number is 60 students. I'm not getting any more than 60. It says each row holds 9 people. So the number in each group would be 9. That's how much we would have in each of the rows. And then it asks us how many rows can they completely fill up. So we're trying to figure out the number of groups or the number of rows. And that's our question. And I noticed that it says completely fill up. It needs to have a full row of 9 in order to be considered an answer for this problem. We can't have anything left over or any rows that are not completely filled. So think about an equation that I can use to represent this problem. An equation that I can use to represent this problem would be 60 divided by 9. So the total number of students divided by the number in each group would equal the rows or the number of groups. Or I could do 60 divided by the number of groups will equal 9 in each group. What I want you to do is pause me and think about a way that I can represent this problem using a picture. In this problem, again, we're trying to figure out the number of groups. So I'm going to see how many groups can I make with 9 in each by skip counting. So I could say 9 and 9 plus 9 would be 18. 18 plus 9 is 27. Or I could just think 9 times 3 is 27 because it'd be 9 3 times. 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 7 is 63. And I realize that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups. Tell me why I can't do 7 full groups. Pause me and think about why I can't do 7 full groups here. The reason I can't do 63 or 9 times 7 or 7 whole groups is because the max I can get is 60. So it's 54, and then 60 minus 54, 54 plus 6 are left over. Because I need to have 60 students broken up into a certain amount of groups with 9 in each. So I have 6 whole groups or 6 full rows with 6 left over. Pause me and think about what is my answer to this problem. So it's saying how many rows can they completely fill up? So I see that if it's asking me for completely filled up, I can't think about these 6 students that are left over because they can't make a group of 9. So if it's asking how many can I make that are completely filled up, I would have 6 completely filled rows. It's asking how many can I make without having any extras or any seats that are missing. If I put this in an extra row, that's fine, but it's not a completely filled row. For your have to today, you're working on page 479, which has to do with division problems, and you're also going to be working on an assessment that has to do with your division set 1. So when you're doing this assessment, I want you to do your best to do it by yourself. And that way I'm able to see what division facts you still need help with. And that's why it's so important for you to be making sure to be spending time working on your division facts every single day. That way you get really quick at being able to do them fluently and quickly. So let me pull up your have to for today. Here's your have to for today. It's page 479 and A79. So on page 479, it asks you to solve the division problems and show your thinking. And that includes including what you decide to do if there's extras left over. Just like we did with our mini lesson, it showed sometimes you need to include an extra group, just like with the cars. We needed to have 7 cars instead of 6 cars, since we needed to make sure everyone was able to go on the field trip, versus when we had the rows in a movie theater, it was only asking how many rows were completely filled up. So you need to pay attention to the story context and figure out what do you need to do with those extras that are left over. So answer 1 through 3. And over here it says to show your work. And I want you to do this because this helps me make sure that you are understanding the lesson, which also allows me to help you better in small groups. And then after that, you're going to do division facts 1. I would like you to finish this within 10 minutes. And this is why it's so important for you to be practicing your flashcards, because these are problems that you need to be able to answer very quickly. Along with these 2 worksheet pages, I also need you to be working on your division set 1 and division set 2, and continue to sort them into 2 different piles. And the piles that you're still working on, practice 3 times. That way eventually they'll be moved to the facts that I know pile. Now let's take a look at your have to slide for today. Slide for today, you need to complete page 479 with division problems and A79, which is division facts 1. And then you need to practice your division flashcard sets 1 and 2 and separate them into piles and practice the facts I'm working on at least 3 times each. And then do 15 minutes of IXL only on the highlighted skills. Please make sure you're getting your IXL time in every single day. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull up your success criteria that you should be able to say once you're done with the have to. So for your success criteria for today, by the end of this have to and this lesson, you should be able to say, I can solve division story problems with the remainders, so that's parts that are left over, and I can solve division problems quickly and correctly.